How do rich people make money? The secret lies in cash flow. Greetings from Fortune Mastery. Have you ever wondered how much wealth you could accumulate in your lifetime? Or how much money you could possibly earn throughout your life? Let's test your financial intelligence. Imagine you could only earn 10 billion VND in your entire life. How could you change your destiny and earn more? If you don't have an answer, there's only one reason. You don't understand money and you don't understand the philosophy behind it. Today, I'll reveal some truths about the capital market. These truths might offend some major corporations or even impact certain countries. So, I'll speak carefully, but clearly enough for you to understand. The first thing to remember is never think of owning money because money never truly belongs to you. It belongs to your country. What we need to do is find legal ways to get money into our pockets and keep it moving to work for us. Once you understand that money isn't really yours, you can change your financial future and remove the limits on your wealth. I believe those who have followed me for a while already understand this concept. Have you noticed that truly wealthy people hate holding cash? For example, if I sell stocks and make a profit, but the cash just sits there, I feel uneasy. Sounds like a gambler's mindset, right? Well, the difference between rich people and gamblers is very thin. The key difference is that gamblers take risky bets, while the wealthy invest in assets that generate passive income. So why don't we like holding cash? Some might say, but businesses need cash, don't they? No, the most important thing for a business isn't cash, it's cash flow. Do you know the difference between the two? It's simple. Have you heard of dead money? Money that doesn't move is dead money. For instance, many parents work hard to save their children's lives, but by the time that money is used, its value has diminished due to inflation. What once could buy a house might only buy a bathroom now. If you don't know how to grow your money and just keep it in a savings account, its value decreases every day. Sounds exaggerated? Take out a banknote and look. Does it have your name on it? No, it has your country's name. So, who decides its value? You or your country? Let me tell you, it's neither you nor entirely your country. I once spoke with a senior investment banker, a true financial shark. From that conversation, I learned how the rich turn dead money into living money and how the system exploits ordinary people. As I've mentioned, I don't know who this message might upset. So if you find this valuable, like this post, you might not see it again. This channel is dedicated to sharing wealth-building strategies and achieving financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out on valuable insights, subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's dive into a practical lesson. I've previously suggested using financial leverage to invest in more real estate. But some people ask, what if property prices fall? What if I can't pay my debts? Let me share a simple story that might break your mental barriers. A bank employee's son once asked, "Dad, the bank doesn't belong to you, so how do you make so much money?" The father replied, "Go to the fridge and bring me a piece of meat." The son did as he was told. Then the father said, "Now put it back." Annoyed but obedient, the son complied. The boy then asked, "Are you messing with me? Did I say something wrong?" His father smiled. "No, I'm giving you an answer. Look at your hands. What's on them?" The boy suddenly understood. Do you get it? Why do the wealthy always borrow money? It's to keep cash flow constantly moving. As long as money flows through your hands, you'll always make a profit. But don't get me wrong, I'm not promoting illegal activities. The point is that we need control over money, not ownership. Do you know the companies behind popular games like Honor of Kings and Arena of Valor? If you think they're just gaming companies, think again. Do you pay to play these games? No, they're free to download. So, how do these companies make money? If I told you these companies are actually financial firms, would you believe me? Legally, businesses can't print their own money. But what is money really? As we discussed, money has two key functions. It is a medium of exchange and a measure of value. If something meets these two conditions, it can become a currency. And this concept already exists. Smart people recognized it long ago. It's called Bitcoin. Bitcoin succeeds on the same principles that drive modern internet businesses. It relies on one key factor: how many people believe in it. The more people trust it, the higher its value. In today's digital age, if you're an entrepreneur without at least 5,000 followers, how can you expect to build a successful business? This version aligns with a European cultural context by emphasizing the digital economy and the importance of social proof in business. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments. In this day and age, we shouldn't just see customers as customers anymore. We should see them as fans. Look at brands like Apple, Xiaomi, Tesla, or LV. These companies don't call their customers customers. They call them fans. We have My Friend and Apple Friend, right? So, how does this relate to you? Do you understand how trading platforms operate? These platforms are leveraging the power of money. Why don't they charge you a fee, or only charge a small one, when you deposit and trade? Because they don't make money from transaction fees. They make money from the cash flow circulating on their platform. These companies are essentially banks or financial institutions. They just don't call themselves that. Imagine if you deposit $1,000 into a trading platform. On their books, they instantly have an extra $1,000. If 1 million people each deposit $1,000, how much money is that in total? A massive amount, but the numbers themselves aren't what's important. The key is understanding how that money is being used. Now imagine you wake up one day and find yourself with €1 billion. Someone who doesn't understand how money works would deposit it in a bank at a 2% interest rate and think they're earning $20,000 a year. But think about this. If a financial company has a team of 5 investment experts, how much do you think they could earn from that same amount of money? This is why I always say that wealthy people do everything they can to keep cash flow in their hands and invest it externally, because they make money from money and use financial leverage to grow it. Do you get the point? Even if you're just an individual and not a financial institution, you still need to find ways to make your cash flow work instead of letting it sit idle in a bank account as dead money. The money you work hard to earn, if left unused in a bank, is simply being borrowed by others to create more wealth for themselves. If you followed along this far, you now understand how we can use financial tools to play the cash flow game. There's a book I want to recommend to you. It's called Fake by Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've mentioned this book before, but today, I want to share an important historical insight from it. This history is related to Europe. What's surprising is that even now, many people still don't know about it. Some may know, but don't understand how it affects our lives, or how to change things. I find this incredibly puzzling. If you want to become more powerful, the first thing you need to do is study the most powerful entities in the world. And one of the most powerful economic and political blocs in the world. Without question, it's the European Union. So, why is the EU so influential? I once mentioned a famous quote from the Rothschild family: "Whoever controls the money supply controls the world." Anyone who loves studying history probably knows how the United States used to be. They went through a major event, and as a result, they gained control over more than half of the world's wealth. It's simple. At a certain point in history, humans relied on gold as a means of trade. During commercial exchanges and financial education, when people believed that gold was the primary medium of exchange, its value became limitless. In 1944, 44 of the world's most developed countries gathered and made a decision. Only the US was allowed to produce gold, and all other countries were restricted from freely owning gold. Are you familiar with this historical period? From that point onward, gold became the sole currency recognized for international trade and payments. This gave the US the ability to use gold to purchase the world's assets and resources. The critical issue was that only the US had the right to produce gold, raising a key question. Did this mean the US could determine how much gold they possessed? From that moment, the United States gradually became the most influential nation in the world. Do you understand why? They mined gold and used it to buy goods from other countries. They used gold to attract the brightest minds globally and to acquire the most advanced technologies. Since gold was the only globally recognized currency for trade and the US controlled its supply, it became the dominant force. If you want to succeed, it is essential to understand economics and the principles of capitalism. But the story doesn't end there. This is not even the most powerful shift. Have you ever wondered why the US currency is called the dollar? Initially, Americans found trading with physical gold too cumbersome and impractical, so they transformed gold into paper currency, the US dollar. Remarkably, other countries accepted this system. When the US dollar became the world's primary currency for international payments, everything changed. So, who controls the issuance of the US dollar? It is the Federal Reserve. Later, President Nixon announced the end of the gold standard. This meant that, from then on, the US could print as many dollars as they wished. Gold was no longer required to back the dollar. Its value was now based purely on global trust and the strength of the American economy. However, there was a significant concern. If too much gold circulated globally, it would lose its value. So, how did the US maintain control? They had two approaches. First, by mining gold from their reserves, and second, by borrowing gold from other nations. If other countries refused to lend their gold, the US could increase its own mining efforts, flooding the market and decreasing the value of gold held by others. Few people realize that the US has already printed over $10 trillion, and this figure continues to rise by the second. So, when I suggest that borrowing money to invest in property is a smart move, some people worry. What if housing prices drop? What if I can't repay the loan? What if I go bankrupt? My response is simple. What if your cash keeps losing value? What if the US itself cannot repay its debts? Would you rather hold depreciating cash or own tangible assets like real estate and gold? Everyone knows the US carries immense debt, so why haven't they collapsed like ordinary businesses? The answer is power. Today, there is much discussion about the metaverse, a virtual world. In the future, we may fully immerse ourselves in such a world, and I believe this vision could become reality. Think about it. Before the advent of online gaming, who would have imagined people engaging in virtual battles? Who could have predicted that we would sit in front of computer screens, connect via the internet, and form teams to complete virtual missions together? At the time, it seemed impossible, but now it is part of everyday life. With just a smartphone, we can communicate across the globe through messaging apps and social media. Given this rapid technological progress, the idea of a fully realized virtual world is not far-fetched. In fact, as a child, I often imagined such a future, perhaps inspired by an animated show. I wondered if we could participate in fantastical adventures like Pokemon battles in a digital realm, even if such creatures didn't exist in reality. But I digress. The point is this: online games already have their own currencies. In the future, what currency will the metaverse use? Will it still be the US dollar? And if it is not, what will become of the United States? Feel free to share your thoughts with me. Regardless of your perspective, one thing is certain. The amount of cash in circulation will continue to increase, and that means its value will keep diminishing. Moreover, we are already living in the age of mobile internet. With the continued advancement of artificial intelligence and the rise of the metaverse, one predictable outcome is clear. Many industries will be fundamentally disrupted and replaced. You may not yet grasp the full scope of this transformation, But every economic and technological revolution functions as a large-scale reset. This shift is not some distant future. It is already happening. Consider the recent pandemic, which forced many businesses to transition from traditional models to online platforms. You could view this as a stepping stone, allowing society to gradually adapt instead of being overwhelmed by a sudden technological upheaval. Think about Jack Ma's story after he created Taobao and Alibaba. What happened to traditional businesses? Many retail stores and traditional businesses were wiped out almost overnight. Consumers now tend to visit stores just to try products and then go online to buy them at a lower price. This is how a technology revolution happens. Whether it's ethical or not, it is still a step forward for society, a pattern that history has proven time and time again. Today, some people are quietly adapting and transforming. By the time the majority realizes the opportunity to make money from the digital economy, you will no longer have the advantage. By then, the blue ocean will already be occupied. In Europe, this kind of digital disruption has similarly transformed the retail and financial landscape. Traditional family-owned shops, which were once the backbone of local communities, have struggled to compete with e-commerce giants. Consumers increasingly prioritize convenience and competitive pricing over loyalty to local businesses. This shift echoes historical transitions, from the Industrial Revolution to the digital age, where new technologies consistently reshape economies and social structures. As seen in European markets, those who fail to adapt face inevitable decline, while innovative startups and agile companies thrive in the new economic environment. I always encourage people to start their own businesses, but I also understand that not everyone dares to step out of their comfort zone to change their destiny. I started from nothing. Those who know me understand my abilities. Everything I share and teach comes from real-life experiences I've been through. There's no luck involved, nor empty theories. Only lessons I've learned through years of struggling in the business world. I believe entrepreneurship is like physics. It is a science with its own rules that can be learned and replicated. With a clear system and framework, you can apply these principles to your own real-world situation. Now, I will share with you the most important part of this message. I'll be direct. How do you turn dead money into living money through finance? This is a different side of money, called intangible assets. The land is an example of an intangible asset. Some might argue, that's not true. Land is a tangible asset because anyone can see it. But let me reveal a secret. On financial statements, land should be listed as an intangible asset. Why? Those who have followed me for a while already know the answer. Because what you actually buy is the land use, rights. And what are rights? They are intangible assets. Do you understand? The land or house you purchase doesn't really belong to you. It belongs to the government. I see many people who are unaware of this but still rush to buy property. Check if your land use rights have an expiration date. In this world, except for the food you eat, nothing truly belongs to you. This is the biggest truth of our world. It might take time for you to accept that. So, from now on, stop thinking about owning things. Instead, think about how to use them. Love is the same way. Don't try to own or control your partner. But let's get back to the main topic. How do you turn dead money into living money? Listen carefully. Let's say I have $10 million. I use that money to buy a piece of land under my company's name. You also have $10 million, but you keep it in your company's bank account. Your advantage is that your cash flow is flexible. You can withdraw and spend it any time. But what happens to cash? Is it gaining value or losing value? Of course, it's losing value because bank interest rates are too low. Meanwhile, although the land I purchased isn't very liquid, I can't immediately convert it into cash. If the land's value increases, I can do something. Revalue the asset. Suppose the land is valued at $10 million in the first year. In the second year, its value increases to $20 million. By the third year, it's worth $40 million. How is this increase recorded in accounting books? According to regulations, the increase in asset value is considered profit. Do you understand? After 3 years, my company could go public. Why? Because my company's revenue grows by 100% every year. Why does it grow by 100%? Because the land value doubles every year. And you keep $10 million in the bank, and after 3 years, it's still $10 million. That's dead money. Some may ask, doesn't the financial market care about a company's actual cash? No, it doesn't. In the capital market, the only thing that matters is the financial statements. When money becomes an asset, its value changes completely. And that's still not the most important point. Why do I encourage people to start companies and become business owners? For one simple reason. In this world, the rules of the financial game are always set by capitalists. The advantage will never belong to the poor. People often think that billionaires like Warren Buffett pay a lot of taxes. If you earn more, you pay more, right? But why do people say that billionaires like Buffett, Bill Gates, or former US President Donald Trump sleep very little? Trump once said, "Because we are smart." Let me tell you a real-life story. You'll understand right away. There is a businessman whose name I won't mention. He spent $50,000 to buy a painting by Vanno. The media reported that he bought the painting as a private individual. But here's the big difference. Buying something personally and buying it through a company are two completely different things. If a business spends $50,000 to buy a painting, it is recorded as a fixed asset on the company's books. Why buy the painting? Because, according to regulations, fixed assets can be depreciated over 5 to 8 years. Assuming the shortest period, 5 years, the painting's value decreases by $10,000 each year on the company's balance sheet. This is called depreciation. This $10,000 in depreciation can be counted as a business expense. A company's taxable profit is calculated by subtracting expenses from revenue. So, if the profit is zero or the company is operating at a loss, no taxes are due. This means depreciation is a legitimate expense that can offset the company's amount of revenue. In other words, if the company earns $10,000 in revenue each year and records $10,000 in depreciation, its profit becomes zero. And when the profit is zero, the company pays no taxes. Got it? This is one of the legal ways a company can optimize its tax liability. So, by doing this, the company can save $10,000 in corporate income tax each year. Is saving $10,000 in taxes any different from earning an extra $10,000? Not really, because the money that would have gone to taxes now stays with the company and is effectively profitable. It doesn't stop there. After 5 years, the painting's book value is almost zero due to depreciation. At this point, the businessman can buy the painting from the company for just $1. By doing so, the painting becomes his personal asset, while the company only records a $1 profit on its books. Do you see the trick here? That's why it's essential to learn how to establish a company, to protect your financial interests while using smart financial strategies to optimize cash flow. Let me ask you, how much is this painting really worth? Some people might say $150,000, but that's wrong. You're still misunderstanding the true nature of money. The way a businessman views money is very different from how we see it in everyday life. So, what determines the value of money for a businessman? It's accounting rules, the financial system, and legal regulations. I'm not bragging. This kind of knowledge is rarely shared online. Even if you study finance or accounting at a university, you may not learn these things. This is practical knowledge I've learned from top investors and financial moguls. Today, I'm sharing these insights with you to give you a different perspective on the world. Before talking about capital and finance, the most important thing is to understand the true nature of money. Understanding money is crucial. Depending on its form, Money can have different values and functions. So, what else can money become? It can turn into something called a financial asset. This is a key factor in determining whether you can become a billionaire. Most companies that go public use this approach. Among the different types of financial assets, what is the most common one? It's company shares. Let me ask you, are shares valuable? $10,000 in cash can be converted into $10,000 worth of shares. So, what's the difference? Now, here's a question. Suppose each of us has $10,000. Is Donald Trump's $10,000 any different from ours in terms of purchasing power? No, essentially, the purchasing power is the same. But what about shares? When your company is valued, people use various methods, such as the cost method or the discounted cash flow method, to assess its worth. Let's say your company has $10,000 in assets and is valued at $10,000 in shares. What does that mean? On the US stock market, a share could be worth just $1. Still confused? That's okay. I just want you to think about this. Does the value of your company's shares have to be exactly $10,000? On paper, the company's assets are worth $10,000, and the cash value is also $10,000. But what if we put this company under Donald Trump's name? Do you believe it could instantly be valued at $100 billion? Could each share be worth $1,000? Absolutely. If Trump raises capital, everyone will rush to invest in his company. This is why the reputation of a company's owner is so important. Most businesses worldwide revolve around money. For example, a common business model is to set up a company in your local area. Suppose you live in New York and spend $10,000 to register a company there. But what if you could connect with Elon Musk from Tesla? He might offer you a completely different business deal. What's the catch? My advice: never keep assets under your own name. Out of the $10,000, I can help you find a company to hold $8,000. This service is called shareholding representation. Have you heard of this term? You might wonder, why would I need this? But Elon Musk would tell you, I charge you 3% to 5% annually. That means you pay him around $300,000 to $400,000 every year. Plus, there's the $8,000 that needs to be invested. So, what happens if I help you find an organization to act as a shareholding representative? Why do entrepreneurs do this? This should be my company, but in the end, I only keep $1,000 to $2,000 while the rest is handed over to Elon Musk to find another company to represent it. Every year, I pay him $300,000 to $400,000. Why would I do that? The reason is simple. If that representative company is Apple, your company's share structure will show Apple owning 80%, while you retain 10%. But here's the thing. Apple doesn't actually care about managing your company. Why does this matter? Imagine if Apple's name was attached to your company in a major city like New York. Do you know how many benefits you'd get? If a reputable company invests in your business, others will fight to invest as well. Why? Because they can brag, I'm working with Apple. Do you get it now? This is why you should never think that money's value is fixed. When you convert cash into shares, its value changes. All these examples are hypothetical, but if you still don't fully understand, that's okay. What matters is this: if money just sits in your pocket or your bank account, it's dead money. Never try to hold on to money because money never truly belongs to you. What we need is the ability to use money. Only when you release money from your hands does it truly become yours. But releasing it doesn't mean wasting it. If you're already wealthy, you can spend money to enjoy life. But if you're not, you must learn to convert money into other forms, such as tangible assets, intangible assets, or financial assets. Right? More importantly, invest in knowledge because your mind is your greatest asset. Since our time is limited, We'll stop here. We offer free information on how to become wealthy, how to be an entrepreneur and an investor, and achieve financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out, follow our channel, turn on notifications, and share this video. I sincerely wish everyone who supports our content will soon achieve financial freedom. If just 1 or 2 ideas from this video help improve your life, I'll be satisfied.